What's up, guys and gals of the movement world? It's Sean Mishka, the Movement Miyagi, coming to you once again on behalf of Football Beyond the Stats and another movement skill short story this week for week 10 of the 2025 NFL season. Except today, in this movement skill short story, we have a college game for you, the Indiana Hoosiers and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Indiana being undefeated in a play that is obviously for the ages, especially if Indiana continues their march upon the rankings in the college football playoffs. What we're going to look at today is something that is going to look very lucky. It's going to look very coincidental. However, I believe we should give wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, as well as then the quarterbacks themselves, or then on the flip side with defensive backs and linebackers, the skill adaptation through the exposure to these types of problems. So when these types of situations happen, when we are least expecting it, when the game is on the line, the players themselves are equipped with the skill, the perceptions, the cognitions, and the actions flowing into one another to adapt accordingly. So we're going to try to make this one quick. We're going to see it from a number of different views and vantage points if you haven't seen it yet. Of course, as always, we're going to look at it at both real-time speed here as well as then at 50% speed. But right off the bat, I want you to lean in on this idea from my old trusty cheap plug of a handbook here, the Enhancing Skill in American Football, page 176 in chapter 6 of our practice activity design, where we talk about attunement to the boundary, where the intent of the activity, as we say, is to enable a receiver, or then on the flip side, the quarterback who is in a synergistic relationship with the receiver, to become aware of position and location in relation to a boundary and or the ball and or the coverage from a defender. In this type of slice is one that I believe that we can recreate if we were to do it and do it often. Again, on sort of a weekly basis. We're going to see it on a couple different vantage or viewpoints here. The other views that are to come are likely to be more informative for us as we see it here and how close this really is. And I want to really think about what it is that is happening in this interaction, number one. But number two, why recreating a slice or snippet of this could be so imperative and important so we don't leave these types of things to chance. Number one, look at the back line judge. Just a baller, attuned, intentional, and adaptable himself. I want you to look at number three's eyes here, his visual perception as he looks the ball in, as he takes off about 2-ish yards away from the back line, from that boundary. I believe that we should do more of these types of throws and catches with a defender pushing and leaning and driving one to the boundary as a defender's skillfully interacting with that. So to get these types of even 2v2 types of interactions, a rusher rushing a quarterback to make sure that that quarterback doesn't get a chance to do this without pressure, but then also this receiver, and look at his eyes, like I said right here, after he looks the ball in, ball coming to him, and he immediately looks to the boundary. Again, on page 176, Enhancing Skill in American Football. Pick it up if you haven't done so yet. We talk about the guidance example in these types of slices, where I say, are you able to simultaneously perceive information about both the defender and the boundary line at the same time? And again, you're not asking the player for a yes or no explicit verbal answer. But what you're asking of the player, if you expose them and immerse them into these types of slices and snippets, are you able to do this with what you're perceiving, how you're intentionally aiming to act, and ultimately how you're adaptively acting in the moment? And you can't get much better than that for number three here from the Indiana Hoosiers. Again, I believe that we should set up these slices and snippets of the game so we don't leave this type of thing to chance, But instead, what we can do is on a weekly basis, give players, skill players, exposure to it. Both sides of the coin here, offense and defense, wide receiver, being able to take that in, be able to skillfully interact with where he is in relation to the boundary. You can start that in a more decontextualized, isolated setup, but then quickly relate it to what's going to happen when a defender, a defensive back, is pushing on you, is covering you, is trying to stay with you, is to try to do everything to keep you from getting the ball. Attunement to the boundary can happen on the back line, can happen also on the sideline. And I believe that on every given practice, we should do something of this sort in Indian crossover periods for more of our players. Don't forget the quarterback in that as well. So hopefully this has offered a little bit of food for thought, just this quick movement skill short story here to start the week on week 10. Hope you all are doing well. This has been another movement skills short story here at Football Beyond the Stats. I'm Sean Mishka, the Movement Miyagi. I'll talk to you all on the next one.